This is the MTN 10 o'clock news.
I'm Janelle Slade. Find out why one small Billings business owner says mask up or don't come in.
That as COVID-19 numbers skyrocket across Montana, with the state seeing its most cases today since early January. Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Russ Riesinger. We'll get right to those latest numbers. Montana reporting more than 600 new COVID cases today, which means another grim milestone as the state surpasses 3,000 active cases. Yellowstone County saw the most new cases with 115. Also reported one new death this afternoon. 287 Yellowstone County residents have now passed away from the virus, and 54 remain in Billings hospitals tonight. Of those 54, 17 are in the ICU and 11 are on ventilators. Throughout the state, more than 200 Montanans are in the hospital. More than 1,700 Montanans have died. Rising cases, more deaths, and a debate that's currently challenging our educators, lawmakers, and leaders across the state. Q2's Janelle Slade caught up with one local business owner who stands by her preferred protocol to protect her clients.
It's certainly a hot debate across Montana. Mandatory mask wearing. Meet one local small business owner who has her mind made up, and she's not backing down.
Why? Because I want my clients to feel safe when they come to see me for services.
Billings esthetician Walona Betson has been giving facials, providing chemical peels, and waxing clients for 18 years. That number of clients is in the thousands, and she has a strict COVID prevention protocol for each and every one of them.
I have a lot of elderly clients over the age of 60, and I want them to feel comfortable coming into me. A lot of them weren't coming in when we first came back to the salon because they were scared.
So in the midst of COVID 2020, Betson moved to a private location and made her checklist. Clients text her when they arrive. She texts them to enter after she's disinfected the room, but only the client, and only if they're wearing a mask.
I'm immunocompromised and I have heart condition.
Betson says she's lost one or two clients and has faced a few challenges, one just recently.
First thing she did is that she tugged on her mask. Do I really need to wear this? Well, yeah, you do need to wear it. It's not only to protect you, but to protect me.
And luck would have it, 4 days later, that client announced on social media she was COVID positive and very sick.
It just hit home to me why I do this and why I'm going to continue to do it until we get a handle on this.
While talking with Betson, she asked why she hadn't received a call. Is Riverstone Health still contact tracing? That answer is yes.
While a number of people are still very responsive to our case investigators calling and following up with those close contacts, there are also a fair number of people that are just saying, I'm not going to participate. So the risk is somebody doesn't know that they've been exposed.
As soon as I could get it, I was down there.
Janine Hildeberg also has heart and immunity issues.
I don't like wearing a mask, but I have grandchildren and they can't get vaccinated, and I don't want to get anything and give it to them, and I don't want to not be able to see them. So wearing a mask is a small price to pay.
Betson doesn't ask her clients if they've been vaccinated. She just trusts them to follow her protocols and hopes her explanation as to why will keep her clients from getting sick or going somewhere else.
No, I don't think I will lose. I really don't, because I think people have empathy and they understand if you have had health issues, they are empathetic to that and they will follow the guidelines.
In Billings, Janelle Slade, MTN News.
Thanks, Janelle. And for those who question what Betson's protocol is when she gives facials, she says that's a great question. Her clients remove their masks, there's limited speaking, and she is masked up 100% of the time, she says. Well, as the Taliban regains control of Afghanistan, the race is on to evacuate as many Americans and Afghan allies as possible. Tonight, the Biden administration says it has assurances from the Taliban for the safe passage of Americans traveling to Afghanistan's international airport for evacuation. 4,000 U.S. troops should be on the ground there by the end of the day to assist, as the Pentagon says it plans to have one charter flight depart per hour. In a news conference, Taliban leaders said the rights of all citizens, including women and girls, would be protected. The NATO Secretary General says Afghanistan risks isolation if its government reinstates a reign of fear. Thousands of people in Afghanistan are displaced and afraid following the Taliban takeover. Tonight, MTN's Jane McDonald reaches out to one Montana organization aiding those in that country.
For the last 20 years, the Central Asia Institute here in Bozeman has been dedicated to educating women and children over in Afghanistan. And with the Taliban seizing control of the country, their mission has never been more at stake.
The Taliban have, over the past year, had a campaign to assassinate human rights leaders, women's rights leaders, because they know that educated people, outspoken people, are going to be a big threat to the future regime. The Taliban have made promises this time around that they will allow women and girls to be educated, but no one knows whether they can be trusted, and no one knows what life under the Taliban will look like.
This is an anonymous quote from an Afghan woman. There are reports that Taliban have pillaged homes and beaten women. They've gone to homes where they knew that young men have gone to 4 years of college and take them out onto the street and point blank kill them. One bullet. The following from an Afghan man. It's like you're waiting for your turn to die.
Our education programs have been able to move forward in some areas, which we're grateful for. We are taking great precautions, however, to ensure that those programs are implemented safely. In the meantime, people are really just trying to survive. So we are looking at the needs right now of more than 250,000 people who have been displaced. There are assessments going on of those needs. 80% of the people who have been displaced are women and children. So we are concerned about them in particular. Many do not have shelter, food, water, health care. So these are going to be the urgent needs that we're going to be focusing on meeting.
Nobody knows what tomorrow will bring, but Alice and her staff here at the Central Asia Institute remain resolute in their aid to the Afghan people. In Bozeman, Jane McDonald, MTN News.
Time to check in with Chief Meteorologist Ed McIntosh for our first look at weather. And as a much anticipated cold front moves our way, so are some storms.
That's right. Yeah, it's kind of a rocky road to get to our cooler temperatures as you take a look. Doppler radar has been busy throughout the day in central and western Montana, and you continue to see some areas of heavy rain. As we focus a little more on our area, showers becoming more numerous around Yellowstone County, close to Billings, but also quite a bit of lightning to go along with that too. Those are the flickers that you see across your screen. So we've seen some new fire starts, especially had some reports in Stillwater County, and very gusty winds across much of southwest Montana. Check out Dillon, wind gusts hitting 69 miles per hour. And speaking of damage reports, today's the anniversary of perhaps one of the biggest of all time, certainly for our area, and that is the quake that happened on this day in 1959, Hebgen Lake, and right around what then formed Quake Lake. Make sure you're watching for Russ's story tomorrow night and its connection to one of our Q2 family.
Well, Senior Senator John Tester made a stop in Billings today to break down the Senate-passed $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill. $3 billion of that is earmarked for Montana, including nearly $150 million towards a group aimed at keeping up with the Treasure State's growth. Q2's Casey Conlon explains.
The press conference was held here at Billings Logan International Airport as Tester extolled the virtues that the bill's help will give to Montana's roads, highways, internet access, and yes, airports. That's why we're here touring the new terminal.
You're standing in a $60 million project right now. That's about halfway through.
After years of talking about the project, the group of about 20 were excited to see something tangible.
And this is progress. This is moving the ball forward.
Kevin Plone says the new A-gates will open in either November, if everything goes right, or January, so that they don't cause headaches during the busy holiday season. He also addressed a number of improvements the significantly larger space will offer.
One of the things that our old concourse really lacked was restrooms. From here all the way to that end, these are all restrooms. But right here where all these guys are working, this is what we're going to call the great room. We'll have a nice bar. These will be 20-foot windows that'll be facing out to the north. Most airports after 9/11 struggled to come up with the space that TSA required for the screening access. So we looked at this and said, okay, whatever we have now, double it, and that way we'll be good for the next big thing.
There are already funds put aside for this entire project, but Logan will receive $19 million more over the next 5 years if the infrastructure bill becomes law, which will accelerate the overhaul.
What this infrastructure bill will allow us to do, not only finish this building, but now we can get back on that airfield and start doing some of the things we need to do out there.
We have a hard time getting businesses to come because of airfare costs. If we can get more people in here, that's going to help have competition, it's going to help drive down prices, and that's going to help businesses all over, and that's what this infrastructure can do.
Keeping up with all the Joneses, who just seem to be discovering that this is the last best place. Casey Conlon, MTN News.
Thanks, Casey. That bill will be the top priority in the U.S. House when lawmakers come back from their August break next Monday. Well, for the first time since the pandemic began, Montana's oil industry is seeing renewed activity. In August, 2 drilling rigs set up shop in eastern Montana. Both are horizontal rigs targeting oil production for Kraken oil and gas. It marks the first time in 16 months that Montana has been able to contribute to the region's count of active oil rigs. As recent as May, Montana produced 46,425 barrels of oil per day. That's down slightly from January's production of more than 50,000 barrels a day. By comparison, during the same month, North Dakota produced more than 1.1 million barrels a day. Ellen Olson with the Montana Petroleum Association tells Q2 News the new drilling activity is all based on economics as oil prices range between $65 to $70 a barrel. Olson is optimistic about renewed interest in eastern Montana. Olson recalls the early days of the Bakken oil boom in 2002 when Montana had as many as 25 active rigs working along the western edge of the Williston Basin. A Montana Fair is popular for a number of reasons, but one of the biggest, the plethora of food options. Tonight, Q2's Mitch Legge takes us behind the scenes with some crowd favorites.
If you stop by Montana Fair in Billings this year, you will find plenty to eat, from the Girl Scouts corn on the cob to a parfait that's made of mashed potatoes and brisket. But just down the midway, there's an option that's a bit healthier. Patrick O'Brien owns Bourbon Chicken Skewers, a business that he's had headquartered in Great Falls since 2009. It's one of the only places you can find steamed vegetables at the fair, with a delicious piece of skewered pork or chicken along with jasmine rice.
We don't have a fryer, we don't have a microwave. We cook on these grills. The fat can fall away, and it does. We serve steamed vegetables, and at the fair that's sort of a rare thing to find, but we wanted to offer a healthy option, and we attract people from all over the fairgrounds who come to get steamed vegetables, and we do really well with that. It's an add-on to our jasmine rice bowl. We call it the Works Bowl.
The dish is pretty popular. As the crew was whipping up a Works Bowl to get one on camera, it was sitting on the counter waiting for maybe 5 minutes before someone bought it up and they had to make another one for me to film. Oftentimes, the fancy fair food is a family business. Brian Chadwick has been working concessions at Montana Fair since he was 9 years old and now owns his own set of stands that sell cheese curds and funnel cakes. Between him and his cousin, they operate 9 stands at Montana Fair.
It's been in our blood. My dad worked for the people in the Coke tent when he was a kid, along with my cousin, my grandma, and then we ended up buying it from them about 20 years ago. And so we've just been kind of out here working the fairs since I was a kid and since my dad was a kid. So,
with about 30 years of fair food experience, Chadwick said one change he's seen is the addition of more local restaurants and food trucks pulling up to offer more variety over the years.
There's a lot more vendors, not necessarily more booths, but a lot more vendors bringing in different unique stuff. So, you didn't see a lot of, like Taste of Asia or a Euro. You didn't see that. It was all the corn dogs and cotton candies and the caramel apples, and now you're kind of seeing a lot more of varied food.
It seems like whatever you are hungering for, Montana Fair has an option that will satisfy. Reporting in Billings, Mitch Legge, MTN News.
Thanks, Mitch. Making me a little hungry. We'll be right back.